Hey everybody, this is Robert People of RobertPeople.com, and you're listening to People's Court. Thank you for joining me. Today is Monday, February 11th, 2019. Winning. What does that mean to you? It's real simple if you're playing games or sports. I mean, we all understand what winning means. The person, the person or the team who scores the most points, obtains the most money, the most of whatever the goal is. They're usually declared as the winners, right? But let me ask about politics, the American people. What does a win look like as far as American citizens are concerned? We hear a lot, especially from the president and his Republican supporters, about how they're winning all the time. But what does it mean? If your focus is on beating Democrats at whatever expense to the American people, then nobody's winning. Why do people get into politics? Well, everyone has their reasons for it, but At one time, the belief was that it was to serve the American people. Some today even try to pretend that that they still, care about the interests of the American people. So the promises we get are to the tune of something in saying that you care about Americans and our citizens. So when did we get to a point where all we become concerned with is winning against the other party? We hear a lot. And we're not talking about... And of course, yes, you can win elections. Got that. You can win elections. You get the most votes, you win the election. Understood. But when you're already in the position, what is considered as winning? And why is the focus on simply beating Democrats at whatever game it is? Now, what I've seen with my own eyes and heard with my own ears is a lot of Republicans are winning, so much winning, being thrilled because liberals are losing. Not in any type of game we're playing or any type of election, but it's simply because of the fact that Republicans are getting to do things liberals are not, or Democrats are not necessarily getting to do. Okay? So, what is winning? And when did we lose sight of where the American people are in all this? To me, if everybody's not winning, then nobody is. Because remember, when you run for office, you're running for the American people, correct? So, if everybody's not winning, nobody is. You may say, well, Robert, everybody can't be helped. My response to that says who? When you ran your campaign, you didn't say, I'm going to help 70% of the country. I'm going to help 80%. I'm going to do only for black people. I'm only going to do for the white people. I'm only going to help Latinos. That's not what you say in your campaign. You say what? The American people, right? So why did we get to a point where we feel like good enough is winning? I don't care. The president loves to bring up let me rephrase that. Lie about how well the economy is doing, best in history, how well the stock market is doing, how well employment is, how high employment is now, or the low unemployment rate. If the unemployment rate is not zero, we aren't winning. You didn't say you were going to help just some people, right? or most, or only enough just so that we break the record, or whatever the case is, whatever excuse he wants to try to use or lie he wants to tell. You're not stopping there. You're trying to help all. Well, Robert, it's not realistic to think that everybody can be helped. Then you know what? You shouldn't be in office then. Because that surely didn't stop you from making that promise or those promises in saying that you're there for the American people, not 80%, not 90%, not just those who are this or those who are that, but everyone. If you did any job, 70%, 80%, 90%, you'd get fired. Just about every other job, you'd get fired if that's what you walked in there and that's what you did. If you are a restaurant server and you bring 80% of someone's order in, is that acceptable? No. If you're a painter and you were called to someone's house and you painted 70% of every room, should you still get paid for that job? If you're an electrician and out of the, let's say 20 outlets that person has in their house, you only worried about making sure that 16 of them are operational. Is that okay? If none of that is acceptable, then it shouldn't be acceptable when you are in political office, and when you are there, you shouldn't be saying you're winning if it's not everybody across the board. See, winning, to be more blunt, winning is about doing anything that will piss Democrats off, piss liberals off. That's what the focus of so many people is. And that's a shame. That's where we are now. Winning has nothing to do with American people as a whole. It's about doing something that you know, or at least you think, is going to irritate anybody who's a Democrat, anybody who's a liberal. As long as you can do that, that's it. That's where we are. The American people as a whole, the nearly or more than 300 million people who are here, are pushed to the back burner because it's more about, each political party going head to head with each other. But I don't want to hear the word winning anything. We still have people on the street. We win when people aren't on the street anymore. We still have mass shootings taking place here. We win when that stops happening. Kids are still being murdered in schools. We win when that stops happening. Unemployment still exists. We win when that stops happening. We are about 5 days away from another government shutdown because the president is not getting his way. We win when that doesn't happen. Because that leads to 800,000 people again, for the second time in a month's time period, won't be getting paid, but still have to work and make ends meet. We win when that happens. Now, everyone wants to jump on board with this needless wall, saying it's because the president cares about the American people and the security of the American people and all that. So why are people still dying in mass shootings? Why are kids still being murdered in schools? Why is it still relatively unclear whether Flint, Michigan has clean water? Why are our hardworking citizens, hardworking federal citizens, about to have their paychecks held hostage again? Why have we not fixed this problem of Social Security, where honest working people who are paying into it now might not have it later on? Why is police brutality still happening? We care about the American people when it comes to a wall, but not when it comes to all this other stuff. That's a problem way more often than any issues we've had with the wall. And I'm not interested in the numbers of how many undocumented get welfare and all this. Those numbers are bogus, made up, inflated. They're straight up lies. There are people in these areas, officials in these areas, not just random folks, but officials in these areas, stating that this crisis that the president keeps talking about does not exist. And the reason I go there is because that's something else that he's trying to win with, that he and the Republicans are trying to win at. Getting this wall is not about American security for the American people. It's not about any of that. It's not about protection. It's about winning again. He gets this, he wins. He gets this, he won. The president's in El Paso right now. He's in El Paso right now, at this very moment. And without having any clue as to what this rally is about, I promise you that's what's going to be pushed. We are winning. But again, I ask, what does winning mean when it comes to the American people? If we still have poor, we're not winning. We still got homeless, we're not winning. People are still struggling, we're not winning. Medications cost what they do, we're not winning. People having to decide whether to go broke buying expensive medicine or just die. We're not winning. If you're one of those people out there who foam at the mouth, get giddy because of the fact that Republicans are doing something that might irritate a liberal, a Democrat, you are a disgrace, to say the least. Because that proves, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that you don't care about the American people. You have no concern for Americans as a whole. What difference does it make that a wall exists to protect the American people if those same Americans get shot up at the school that's right across the street from the border? When it comes to winning, and the American people, we all have to win. Every last one of us. I don't want to hear that it can't be done. I don't want us to go out and throw these parties and do all this and that because, our unemployment is the lowest in its history. If it's not zero, it's still a problem. The economy. We're judging the economy based on the stock market. How many Americans can afford to invest in the stock market? That's how we're determining what the economy looks like, by the stock market, where very few people can really significantly invest in. Yeah, there's people out there who can maybe buy a share or two of this or maybe 10 shares of that. But we're talking about enough to put a real dent in the stock market. Most of the middle class can't afford that. So how are we saying the American economy is based on that and how the stock market is looking? And by the way, a whole lot of people took the president's promise about the tax breaks, right? And guess what a lot of them are finding out? A whole lot of y'all finding out that guess what? You're either not getting back as much as you thought you would get back, or you owe. A lot of us saw that coming, but some of you didn't. Is that what winning means to you? Is that winning? This is Robert People of RobertPeople.com. Thanks for listening.